Is the biblical view of morality unconstitutional? Is the Christian moral code unconstitutional? Does it violate the First Amendment? Hi, Alex McFarland here, and I want to talk just briefly about morality and the First Amendment, because our nation is embroiled in a conversation about sexuality, gender, the nature of marriage, the nature of morality itself. And oftentimes, if we assert that there are any moral boundaries, any ethical parameters that we ought not go beyond, we're met with a reply that that's the imposition of religion. You can't impose your beliefs on somebody else. And after all, recognizing morality somehow violates the First Amendment. I want to disagree with that. And let me give a quote. George Washington, our first president, May 10, 1789, said this. Now listen very carefully. George Washington said, "If I had entertained the slightest apprehension that the Constitution, which was framed at the convention over which I had the honor of presiding, if I had entertained the slightest apprehension that that Constitution would be used to hinder the rights of any church or religious body, I myself would not have signed it." End of quote. He used the words ecclesiastical societies, which is ecclesiastical references churches. Our founding fathers clearly believed in a moral code. Now, sometimes that's called the Judeo-Christian worldview. Sometimes that's called self-evident truth. That's what Jefferson called it. Sometimes it's known as objective truth or absolute truth or the Ten Commandments. But Washington believed, our founders believed, great leaders throughout history have believed. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., in his Pulitzer Prize-winning book, Why We Can't Wait, which was really the manifesto of the civil rights movement, and thank God for it, but all of Dr. King's work was predicated on God, an objective moral code, and Christianity. So for those that would expunge any knowledge of morality from American life in order to legitimize their agenda, what they don't understand is they're undermining the very foundation on which our Declaration, Constitution, and Bill of Rights stands. So what I say to the atheists, gays, and Muslims, if you want to be an atheist, but don't dismantle the very framework that gives you the freedom to safely walk around as a non-believer. If you want to be a homosexual, you can be a homosexual, but don't undermine and erode and dismantle the very milieu, the backdrop that gives you the freedom to safely walk around as a non-heterosexual. See, the good news is this. The good news is we can have a free, prosperous, safe America. The bad news is, at least it's bad news if you're a libertine and you want a lawless society, you have to tolerate what gave us what we have. And what gave us what we have had for now 240 years was a common moral ground. Now, I'll close by saying this. Some would say that if you recognize a moral code that squares with the Bible, somehow you violated the First Amendment. False. Let me explain. There's civility and there's ceremony. First Amendment says that the government is not going to tell you how to do church. That's ceremony. But civility, just the foundation, the epistemic and moral basis on which we build a safe, civilized, ordered society, that's not religion, that's morality. There's a confusion of the two in the quest to keep the government out of religion. What's happened is the erasure of morality, and it imperils our very future, our very existence. So folks, know the truth, defend the truth, speak truth, and remember, the man that wrote the First Amendment, Fisher Ames, wanted the Bible taught in public schools because he felt like it was the best vehicle to teach morality to young people. I always ask the question, how is it that 21st century secularists seem to know more about the application of the First Amendment than the man that wrote the First Amendment, who was very pro-morality and, in fact, pro-God? God bless you. Thanks for watching. Stand for truth, speak the truth, live the truth, model the truth. May God bless you, and may God bless America.